Well, guys, we did it. We notched another top 5. I think come in 4th place on Rayburn. Dropped a giant bag on the final day. I don't even know. I just know it was 31 something, and I don't even think they wanted to weigh the big fish, and I weighed it anyways or something. I know it went. I know it went closer to 10. It was a 9 something. It was not a 10. It was a 9 something. The only reason I say that is when I caught the fish. Well, let's put it this way. I caught a 7, I believe, on day 1. I thought it was an 8-pounder. You got to go back from the very beginning of all this. Was me and Russell had a bass champs, right, where we came in 2nd the weekend before. We always do the weight. I wasn't doing the weight in our head in that tournament. I always do, but I wasn't doing the weight. Russell was doing it, and he was like, hey, we got a chance to win this thing. I'm like, really? And he was like, we got, he said, we got 27 pounds. And I was like, huh? I was like, do we? And I'll be honest with you, because we had caught those other fish, and I'd caught our last 2 fish. I caught a 4 and a 7. And I was caught a 7. So we were like, okay, we have 2 7s, a 5, and 2 4s or something like that. And we knew that, right? And so we knew that they were 2 big ones, and we were talking about which one was bigger, the one I caught or the one Russell caught. And in this tournament, I'm like, I just think I caught one bigger than that. That was at 7-7 on day 1. On day 2, I catch one even bigger, and it was bigger, but I don't think it went 8 pounds. I thought it was going to go 8. And I think it went 7-11 or 7-13. I don't know. It went something, 7-13. It was just shy of 8 pounds. And I'll be honest, most of the time I'm light. And so I was like, hey man, I caught an 8-pounder. I thought it was bigger than 8. I told him I thought I had 25 pounds. I was less. That's why I don't tell that. Now, I usually tell other people less, but I didn't tell Russell that. Russell, I try to give him the exact weight. And so anyways, when I was texting him after the event, he's like, what do you got? I'm like, I got a bag. He's like, what do you think? I'm like, well, I was like, I caught a big one. And I was like, he's like, you got 30? I'm like, no. I said, I think I'm just going to be just shy of 30. I think I got 29. And I started doing the weight in my head. When I caught this one, I don't even know what to say, man. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was a catfish. I mean, and here's why. Check this out. It's gonna be a catfish.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'll be ready just in case.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. It's like doing those weird circles.
Yeah. Oh God. Jesus. Oh, get it in. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I thought it was a catfish.
That's a giant.
That's
your
dude,
first.
I swear to you. Didn't you look at, did you see it? It was
yes.
I was 0% sure it was a bass.
Yeah.
It's my biggest one of the week.
How big do you think that is? 8?
Oh, I'm glad you were there.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've made that mistake before, and the guy's like, hey, don't worry about it. I think it's a.
Well, dude, there was
striper.
2 of them, and the other one was so big.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, but it went up there and ate it like a bass. That's the biggest. That's almost 9, I think.
Jeez, man.
There's number. And when I saw him, I was like, dude, I was glad you.
I may have kneeled on one of your rods, so.
Huh?
I may have kneeled on one of your
Dude,
rods,
I don't
but
care
I'm like, I'm not missing
this.
this.
I jumped on my guy yet. So there was a tournament.
Yeah.
There's a tournament I won here.
Yeah.
And the guy that threw the final day.
Uh-huh.
He freaking
Did you miss a big one? Or
No.
Slow to it?
He did good.
Okay.
No, so it was right off the bat that morning.
Yeah.
And I always have all my rods out there, and it's a 6-pounder.
Yeah.
And I'd already caught a bunch. It was number 5.
Right.
And he gets the net and he gets hung up there, and he's breaks freaking rod, the line baits everything, nets it. I looked at him, I said, dude, that's how you do it. Because
Really?
everyone else, like, I'm like, no, dude, it's a 6
Get in
pounder.
there.
Get
Yeah.
it in there.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll get another rod.
That's fair.
He didn't break any rods though, but I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that attitude, that mentality.
Yeah,
Or whatever.
the guy yesterday, he was like, I'm like, dude, just like you're good.
No, I hit my bail and I go right for it. Hell yeah, dude.
I don't think it's from that fish. I think it's from that catfish. Ever since Live Scope kind of came out, and if y'all are new to this whole my channel or new to this or just now listening, please don't hit me up with Live Scope comments. Please don't make me have to like comment back to y'all about the fact that I know how to fish without Live Scope. In fact, I was like one of 3 guys that really didn't use Live Scope in the first event, or my entire career, or all my Angler of the Years, or any of that stuff. Okay? Here's what I'm going to say about this, and I will get into this later. I'm pretty sure 24 out of the 25 guys that made the cut, except Steven Johnson, were live scoping. I don't care what y'all's opinions are on it. I got my opinions too. Right now, if you're going to fish a tournament on Rayburn over the last 3 years, every tournament's been one sight fishing, live scoping. Okay, so like, don't come to me with like, oh, you're cheating or whatever. I don't really care. Hey, I don't make the rules. I just follow them. If you're not using it, you're gonna get beat. I don't care how good of a fisherman you are. Steven Johnson's like freaking one of the best fishermen ever, and he'll even tell you it's hard to compete. He did good. I think he would have blown out the tournament if it had just been a fishing deal. But anyways, we have throughout a day, let's see, in this tournament I caught catfish, crappie, white bass, gar. I caught a gar 2 out of the 3 days, and bass. So I catch it all. I catch channel cats. I catch mainly blue cats. If y'all saw one of my last videos, I caught a big old giant blue cat. There's a lot of times I can tell them apart. Most of the time I can. It's a lot easier when there's more bass than catfish, right? And it helps when the catfish are really, really big. Like you'll get some like 10 pounders and they're overly big or even bigger than that. They're longer. You can tell the difference. I got fooled once that I was like, this is a bass, guaranteed. And I threw out there and it was catfish. It was like a 4-pound catfish. At times I'll throw at catfish, or I throw at bass thinking they're catfish. Or I get tired of getting, every once in a while, you can get fooled, right? Depending on where it is in the water column, things like that. I'll be honest with this one. This one was, let me get back to it. So, when you catch a catfish, you can almost tell within the first 2 seconds. Normally, the catfish like shake their head. They start shaking their head and then they roll. That's what they do. You can instantly, like I can't tell you how many times I told my co-angler, don't worry about it, it's catfish. A lot of times throughout the event going, hey man, as long as this isn't a catfish, it's a big one. I'll say that too. Where I'm like, okay, don't be a catfish. I threw next to this one spot where there was, when I say a spot, I caught it like a 6-pounder right there the day before. I mean, it's not a spot, it's just in that same general little area, little point thing. And I saw this big giant blob. Like big giant, maybe one day I'll go into like the difference of how you can tell the difference. And I'm like, that's a catfish. And I'm like 99.9% sure it was a catfish. It was giant. It was probably like a 20 something pounder. When I threw next to it, there was another fish there, like right beside it. And it kind of like came out and like bit, and it looked like, I'm like a smaller version of that big catfish. And it bit. And I was like, oh, And if you can tell, I was not excited about it. I was like, that bit really, really quick. But catfish will follow too. Well, we can go into the whole catfish thing, but for right now, so it came out there and bit. And if you watch my rod, I'm gonna replay it again. You're like, why is he replaying this? Watch my rod. If you see my rod tip go like this a bunch, like that's what catfish do.
It's gonna be like a catfish.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'll be ready just in case.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah. It's like doing those weird circles.
Yeah. Oh God! Jesus.
And they shake their head and they do all this stuff, and it's really strange. And then they start to roll. The bass usually they'll either dig in and take off. They'll come up, obviously. That's what we want. Like, we know it's a bass when it starts like rising up. We're like, oh, that's one. And then if not, it'll do what it'll do. It'll roll and stuff, and you can tell instantly. This fish didn't even hardly fight. It just kind of shook its head the whole way up and then popped up. I mean, you could tell when I talk about it, surprised. I guess I haven't shown the rest of my videos. Every other time I'm like, hey, got one. And like net, like instantly. This one I'm like, no, I told him not to. I didn't do that with any other fish throughout the entire event. So, yeah, I catch that big one. And I guess it's a little story time with Todd, right? That was number 5 for me. I had 14 to 15 inches at the time. It was like 9:30, and I catch that one. I catch a 6-pounder, not on my next cast, because I sit right there and I retied and I kind of sit down like, oh yeah, I can't believe that just happened. This is wild. You know, I was in more shock of the fact of like not thinking it was a bass. And then I was pretty worried because I'd had a big one every day. I call a 7-pounder a big one. I don't care what anyone says. So I'd had a 1 over 7 pounds every day, and I was going great day 3, and I can't even catch a 2-pounder. And then all of a sudden, I catch the biggest one of the event for me. So I was like, oh. Usually, and I told my guy right after this, my co-angler, who's actually friends with my buddy Cal, who I went to his wedding this summer, and this guy was there, and so we all are at the same table. Anyways, I told him, I was like, man, I'll take a big fish any day over like, 5 3-pounders or 5 4-pounders or something, because like it's hard to catch a big fish. It makes your weight. It gives you a chance at a big bag. So anyways, I turn around within like 3 minutes, I catch a 6-pounder, and I'm going, what is going on today? Like, that's crazy. And it took a while before I like caught another big one, but whatever. I started doing the math in my head, and anyways, I weighed that 31 pounds in, and I was going, this is pretty wild. I knew I was going to move up. My wife and kids, surprisingly, we didn't have soccer or track or basketball or anything like that, so she got to come up on stage. I hadn't caught a big bag like that. I mean, we caught 28 pounds at Bass Champs, but I hadn't caught a 30-pound, I hadn't caught a 30-pound bag in a while. And so, yeah, it was nice to do. What do I have to say about it? I've been on the phone with the tournament director today for about an hour. And we still have problems. There's still problems. It's not his fault. I want to make this very clear. It's none of these guys' faults. It's no one's fault on any of this, with this whole why people aren't showing up. It used to always be about the money. It ain't the money. Toyotas freaking pay better than anything else. It's not the money. It's this other thing that's going on, and y'all can do whatever y'all want to say about it or whatever. But I even made a little small talk in the weigh-in line, and some guys, I had some opinions, and guys were like, well, I don't like that. I hope you're wrong. And I'm like, I get it, man. I know what you want, but dude, what are we going to do? Be fishing against 50 of us next year? I was like, something's got to change. Something has to change. Doesn't matter what it is. Something has to change. That those changes could look a lot different, and maybe we'll go into all of them. But I will say this: we had that tournament. I don't know what the Texas team trail looked like. Randy Despino, I told you all about that. Put on a tournament at Toledo. 273 teams, no live scope. I say this, guys. I'm not. This has no reflection on if this is one of y'all. I looked at it very, very quickly. I was specifically looking for about 5 to 10 names that I've been familiar with over the past 3 or 4 years. Names that have been catching giant 30-pound bags on Toledo. They weren't there. They weren't there in tournament, and I don't think that's a bad thing. And like I said, I'll do another video explaining why that's not a bad thing. But yeah, they had 273 teams. It took 27 pounds to win. Guys caught them without it. It just probably felt it was a good event. So ours was a good event. Ours was a great, we had 3 guys catch over 30 pounds in our event on Rayburn on the final day. I think 5 guys ended up weighing over 30 pounds. Let me see if I get this right. Me, Cody Ross, Riley Harris all caught 30 pounds bags on the final day. Dakota and Lee Livesey caught them on the first day. I guess no one caught a 30-pound bag on day 2, I don't believe. Everyone's like, oh man, that's showing out. That's Rayburn. Like, look at it. Big bags are cool. Big bags aren't always great for tournaments. Big bags are actually worse for tournaments. And locally, I wanted to say local or locally known names, however you want to say it. When the local favorite wins, that's not ever a good thing. So not for numbers wise. It's always great for a guy who no one's ever heard of to win, guy from somewhere out of state, whatever it might be. And weights that are closer, like weights for guys that have a better chance of catching a bag to win, or like you think you're in it. Yeah, when you got multiple guys catching giant bags and then you got guys struggling to catch 12 pounds, it makes you not want to fish. It makes you not want to fish if you have a thought of what that guy's doing, and that's the only way to win. So they got all these circuits have a problem on their hand. If they're not feeling the effects now, they will. They will eventually. And so at the top level, it doesn't matter. At the top level, it's for different reasons. At the regional level, when you're trying to get numbers, that's where you have the problems. It doesn't matter what the elites do. Care less. They ban it. Freaking have 40 of them. It doesn't really matter. The viewership might suck, but I mean, it doesn't really matter what they do because it doesn't affect you. It doesn't because you're not in the elites. Neither am I. Like, we can't get, but anybody in the country can go fish the Toyota. Anyone could have gone and fished that. So other than the elites and PFL, BPT, everything else that matters, because we can all fish them. We all can decide whether we want to fish them or not. So we'll get into all that later. But had my kids there, wife came, caught a big bag. It was fun. Got a little check. My trophy's right there. So yeah, I've got 2 more. For whatever reason, I got another one over there too. Oh, I got one up there. Another 4th place. I don't know why that one's a 4th place. I got to put 2 more of them up there. And then I got my champs. Oh, I got some more Garmin stuff, prize winning stuff, Skeeter money, banner stuff. I'll put that up too. So it was a good weekend. Or good week. Bass champs, winning that, and then winning the money over here. Yeah, I had a good week. Good fun week. So now I'm done for like a week or 2, just because we got Arizona for some stuff, and then the Classic, going to it. So I'll be at the Classic in Fort Worth I guess I'll be rooting for Lee Livesey, whatever. I guess I can root for him. Go Lee. No, I hope he does good. So, oh yeah, I'll be rooting for Lee. Rooting for everyone else. Who else gonna be there? Hackney gonna be there. Assume Hackney's gonna be there. I gotta see who else is in there. For the classic, I'm picking straight buddies for the classic. So don't follow my deal. I'm just gonna pick guys that I want to win, not guys who I think can win. So whatever. Those are gonna be my picks. But yeah, now this boat is a mess. I gotta fix something with that. I don't even want to show my Garmin. I'll just put it to you this way. It looks like someone freaking took a jig right to the freaking, I don't know. I didn't do it. I don't know. It sure does look like someone threw a jig right at it. And then, yeah, it is. Look at this. I got to show you all this. Of course, it was raining all day yesterday. So, yeah, this is what the bottom of my boat. I even got freaking Sonic. My kids brought me Sonic. But, like, look at that. Just nasty. Just dirt everywhere. It was all, that's what happens when you get up there. Kids, everyone was tracking through and stuff. And I was like, that's no big deal. I'll clean it this week. It'll get a good scrubbing down. So anyways, thanks for following along. I will try to do some more reporting or whatever. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know, maybe I'll make a fish tips video. I don't know about that. I know I'll do some stuff on my private channel. Maybe I'll release some of this stuff publicly. I don't know. I haven't got there that, man, I've been, oh, y'all didn't want to get into the, what was it, Friday night, cramping in my calf. Oh, I look like an idiot, like limping around the house. It was cramping every single muscle. It didn't matter where I turned my foot for like 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't get a lot of sleep. I don't eat really good, and I rarely drink water out there on the boat when it's like this. So I'm super tired. Woke up at 4:25 this morning for no reason, because that's what I do. I'm gonna get a little bit of rest the next day or so. Clean all this stuff out, get ready for the next event. All right, see you guys.